Hip-hop sales are dying. Some people say we need Drake.
So as of the day of this video, there are only 4 rap songs on the global Spotify charts, and this is the lowest in 9 years. And really what that means is this is the lowest in history because the Spotify charts only came out 9 years ago. I'll be honest, this is a scary sight because if the labels see that hip-hop is no longer the most dominant genre, they're not going to invest in the superstars of the next generation. That's why you're seeing so many more country songs on the chart or Latin songs. The labels are strategically investing into the Bad Bunnies, the Taylor Swift, the Morgan Wallens of the world. And because those are the artists turning the largest profit right now, the music industry wants those genres to be the most popular because that means those superstars will only get bigger. It's kind of like how 7 years ago, hip-hop was the biggest genre in the industry, and you had a lot more of these smaller artists popping up, right? Like the Trippie Reds, Lil Uzi, Lil Pump, whoever, all these artists were popping up left and right. But as a result, because the mainstream consumer got more used to hearing hip-hop music, the superstars of hip-hop got bigger as a result. That's when we saw Drake's mainstream peak. That's when we even saw Kendrick Lamar at one of his most commercially successful eras with his Damn project. Same thing with Kanye West, Travis, J. Cole, etc. I say that to say, because it's now the Taylor Swifts, the Morgan Wallens who have overturned the Drakes in terms of the most streamed artists today, the music industry has an incentive to push the genre of music that they make. Because then their biggest players, their superstars will only get bigger, and it'll give the opportunity for a lot of smaller acts to emerge. That's why we don't see as many newcomers within hip-hop like we were seeing back in the 2016 XXL freshman days. I say all that to say, it's very scary that this is the lowest amount of hip-hop entries we've seen on the Spotify charts in history. Again, it means there's less incentive for the record labels to build up and invest in the superstars of the next generation. I mean, look at this. 5 years ago today, there were 56 rap songs on the Spotify charts. Today, there's only 4. And while this is a dark look, it does indicate that a shift is happening.
What up, words? Your boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and notification bell. Keeps sending those Cashapp to CLBMG. Join that membership gang. Listen, there's a whole lot of discussion about something that when you peel back the layers, it's inevitable because things go in cycles. But at the end of the day, hip-hop still is the most dominant genre. But what's going on right now is we're seeing a point where Spotify is reacting and it's showing a downturn for hip-hop in and of itself. Now, that's not the whole music industry, but it does relay a lot to what is popular in today's streaming and things of that nature. Now, some people, the reason I bring this up, and you're going to say, why are you relaying this to Drake? Because like I always say, they have narratives that they spin, and they get up in the morning with this after the Zoom call, they run out and their minions start to spin narratives, and What's the Dirt is one of their minions, and he's spinning the narrative as well that hip-hop is down due to the fact that Drake and Kendrick had a battle, and the battle was so divisive on Kendrick's part that now hip-hop sales in and of itself are down. Now, that could not be further of the truth. Also, that they're also saying that since so-called Kendrick took out Drake, now the music industry is boring. We've heard that over the last couple weeks, and we need Drake, quote unquote, back. This is the other narrative. Somehow Drake has dropped over 30 records, but somehow we need Drake back for some reason. And these are all spins, and these are all copes, and these are all misleading narratives that the bubble bath rappers collective will push from time to time as a direct response of losing this battle horribly and horrifically and not having a good comeback response by for one, still trying to figure out why he lost, and secondly, trying to figure out why everyone, quote unquote, turned on him by going to the pop out and things of that nature, and why his music isn't hitting like it used to. There are a whole lot of things that the bubble bath rapper and his people are trying to figure out. But for one thing that we do know for sure, sales of hip-hop are slowly, they are on a slight decline. And with only 4 of the records on the Spotify global charts, being hip hop, related, and 3 of them being Kendrick, that is a sign that something's going on, where there used to be 50 records from hip-hop artists. Now you only got 4, and 3 of them are Kendrick. Now, I agree with Joey Badass, who said this is one of the best years for hip-hop, in my opinion, and in his and quite a few others, because for one, we've gotten a lot of good releases that are keeping us very fed. We're eating good food right now. We got the Clips, JID, West Side Gun, Benny the Butcher. There's been a lot of things, Chance the Rapper. There's been a lot of good rap releases. But if you're a person who we've been brainwashed, let's just be honest, for quite some time, that looks at the charts as indicative of what hip-hop is and will not be, I'm just going to be honest. In that era, I want to say the 2010s, where it was so formulaic. You had your Nellies, and you had Eminem in there, you had Jay-Z, you had Fabulous, you had Ludacris, you had DMX, The Lox, Bad Boys was churning out a lot of stuff, and Bad Boy meaning Diddy and things of that nature. There was a lot of stuff being churned out formulaic. I'm just going to be honest. I thought that era was a little too, we were too polished, and hip-hop was too shiny, and we were chasing numbers, and Jay-Z and everybody was chasing numbers. It was all about how many record sales, 50 Cent and Kanye, and a lot of that stuff was good, and some of it wasn't so good. But as a collective, hip-hop was running shit lyrically, and far as like, I want to say numerically, we were putting out a lot of big records, but it started to feel like we were in a bag chase, and there had to be repercussions from that bag chase soon, because what we were teaching the kids was you got to sell units at all costs. And what that means is when you sell units at all costs, you lose a little bit of the spontaneity, you lose a bit of the creativity, the organic flavor that we were doing gave way. And let's be honest, to a Drake per se, and a person like Drake was able to come in, put all these dots together and flourish with the help of his label, let's just be honest, and the help of ghost writers and people who started to write. They studied rap music for a living, and what they started doing is, okay, let's X out the more challenging or the more thought-provoking stuff, and let's just put in a bunch of club bangers and strip club anthems, and you could sell units really easily, really quickly. And we had a lot of little duffel bag boy stuff going on. A lot of stuff was going, snap music came in, and it just became a whirlwind of who can get the most units with the least amount of effort. It became so easy. You started to go to the same producers. You started to say the same things, and you too, my friend, you could go up quickly on the charts. And as this thing happened, we started to lose our outcasts. Andre broke up with Dre and moved out of the game, and a lot of the things that stood the test of time, Goody Mob fell off, and you know what I'm saying, just a lot of things that brought the creativity and the spirituality, the blackness to a degree, and just the actual essence of the artistry gave way to a lot of funny style, weird looking rappers that came in with just a different aura, and they started to play with a lot of different taboo things and metrosexual looks and just kind of differences of what hip-hop was about. And it became, they were blurring the lines, and all of a sudden now it doesn't matter what you're saying. It appears that your image will get you over in a poppy, snappy kind of, you know, record that's going to move the needle and do the numbers and get people talking about you. Enter Little Nas X and things of that nature, right? So it became a different thing where gimmicks were in style. And we all know what gimmicks do. Gimmicks, after a while, gimmicks fall off. Gimmicks phase out, and people get tired of gimmicks. And what you're left with is a bunch of gimmicky artists that when a real rapper comes back, like Kendrick Lamar, keeps the game alive at a high level, that gimmick stuff starts to look really funny and wonky, and it starts to look really silly. And people like Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen or whatever, these country people, and Shabuzi, they'll come in and the labels will start to push that because that's easier to sell and it's more viable and it's more real. Let's just be honest. Shabuzi plays in the world of hip hop and takes that back to country, and all of a sudden it's brand new over there, right? Nelly's 20-year-old record is brand new over there in the country world. So we started to embrace that. Beyonce went country, and a lot of people started to embrace what they were doing over there. There's a lot of new artists in that genre that were never getting any, they weren't getting them 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. They weren't getting any burn, but all of a sudden this new black country movement is afoot. And also, not to mention the Latino market. I went through I played a lot of Latino music for a while. I want to say over the last 3-4 years, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. So that's a very big market. Tekashi 6ix9ine realized his bread is buttered over in the Latino space, the reggaeton and this, that, and the third. I listen to reggaeton. I put that on. I don't even need to know what they're saying. Just put that on in the background, because rap, let's just be honest, had become so. It just became just chaotic. We had the mumble rap, and it just was unclear where it was going. It didn't make sense to a lot of people like myself, and it doesn't allow you to think, in my opinion, because once you can understand what they're saying, you're like, God damn, how many times can you say this shit? Then you got trap music, not trap. You got the damn drill music coming in, and you're like, it's a little bit much for me. I don't really want to hear this either. So it's like you got trap music, drill music, then you got this wonky, weird space, this alternative shit, and then got the emo, and it just became all over the place, a bunch of stuff you didn't want to hear. And then our elder statesmen, if they weren't being pushed out, they weren't making good music. And if they weren't making good music, they didn't know how to promote it. They didn't know how to use the internet. I know quite a few of my artists that I loved back in the day went years without a daggone Twitter page. They didn't have a Twitter page. I know Keith Murray didn't have a Twitter page. Mr. Cheeks didn't have a Twitter page. Like, all these guys that we thought were so awesome didn't know how to use social media. So it was like, damn, like, what's going on? 50 Cent used it, but he only trolling on this shit half the time and selling fucking vodka. So it's like, what we got going on? So it's like, damn, if our legends aren't on here completely messing up what they got going on, doing something dumb, saying something stupid, or they're trolling all day, or they trying to promote something that's unrelated to hip hop. So we were stuck at a crossroads, right? And only recently, I want to say in the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of our elder guys figured it out, right? Nas figured it out. Nas started doing his thing, 6 albums in a row, 6 bangers in a row. And just like, okay, but before that, what do we have? We didn't, before King's Disease, this, that, and third. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what was our elder statesmen doing? I remember seeing quite a few of my elder statesmen just out here looking lost. They go 7, 8 days without tweeting. So it's just like, damn, what do we got? We really, LL wasn't even doing, like, a lot of people weren't doing shit. So we didn't have that. So the music industry was left to the Lil Uzi Verts, and God bless his heart, he did his thing for his crowd, but that's not my crowd, right? And you got all kind of new artists coming up, and you can look at the X-Men, the double XL freshmen. You can look no further than that to see what we working with. So it's like, Jesus Christ, these young kids using Chat GPT to write their raps. So this is what we got going on, right? Chief Do It, right? Talking about he used Chat GPT. So now, who wants to hear this stuff, Lo? So now we got a whole conundrum of newer guys flooding it, like just flooding it, but they're saying the same exact thing. Like, you could, I told you I listened to a drill playlist on, I believe it wasn't SoundCloud, it was another streaming service, right? And I listened to it and probably got 12, 15 songs in, because I wanted to hear, like, listen, I want to hear this. I want to hear this is supposed to be the best drill music of 2023, whatever it was, right? And I listened to it, and I tell you, I couldn't distinguish one song from the other. I couldn't distinguish one artist from the other. And it was like, this thing just going on nonstop. For me to listen to this, I got to lose some brain cells, because it's like, it's the same thing constantly from beginning to end. They don't change. They don't change cadence. They don't change the subject matter. It's the same shit from beginning to end. So I'm like, this is going to, at some point, tire out even the staunch defenders of this. This, after a while, this is going to become really, really boring. So guess what? For your albums to move the needle in any kind of way on any kind of charts, you're going to have to appeal to a wider fan base than this. So the wider fan base, yeah, they're going to do that, this and that, but then a lot of them going to be like, you know what? I got cheering practice. I'm going to go back and start listening back to my Taylor Swift. Like, so what you're doing is, it's people out there with more options. They don't have to listen to this. They don't have to. So what they're doing is, they're going back to their roots, right? They got Sabrina Carpenter to listen to. They don't have to play this. So what's happening is, there's more options for them now. And let's just be honest, hip hop never was made for the charts. Hip hop, beyond at one point, 93, 94, 96, 98, we started to chart in a bigger way. More artists started to hit the charts as hip hop became more popular, right? Even Wu-Tang hit the charts, this, that, and the third. But as it became more popular, we started to think it belongs on the charts. No, it doesn't belong on the charts. Hip-hop is hip-hop. It is what it is. The best hip-hop probably won't chart at all. Let's just be honest. So that's why we're getting the greatest hip-hop right now in years. Back to back to back. Real rap is back. But if you're a person who has fallen for this trap that, oh, hip-hop needs to chart, then it's a bad situation. And then you get these Drake fans who are not, let's just be honest, most of them are not hip-hop fans. Because if you are a Drake fan and you're rooting for the clips to fail, you're not a hip-hop fan. Let's just keep it a buck. You're not a hip-hop fan, you're a Drake fan. So what we're getting is people that are Drake fans looking at the numbers, and people like What's the Dirt who are not hip-hop fans, they're Drake fans. They're talking about this is the worst time, Kendrick is divisive, this, that, and the third. So what we're getting now is people that want to see you on the charts. Well, even almighty Drake ain't charting right now. His old stuff, yeah, sure. The stuff Take Care and this, that, and the third. 400 Dogs is even come back to the charts. But that's the old music. Right now, hip-hop and rappers are not charting. So now we're getting it where, what's the problem? What's going on? It's getting scary, spooky, hilarious. Well, a lot of these labels ain't putting the time into these artists that they used to. They used to have A&Rs. They used to build you from the ground up. They would teach you how to write your songs. They would take 3 years and build you. Now, you already got to come in already shaped and molded. You got to already be selling, quote unquote, CDs out the trunk. You got to be Ludacris. You got to be Too Short. You got to already have a fan base. You got to be Master P, already doing millions without no label support. Then they want to come in and throw you a $3 million contract, right? They started signing YouTubers. Gang, like, it got to a point, I remember Rice Gum got a deal. Like, the YouTube, DDG, all these YouTubers. What's the guy from the UK? I can't remember his name right now. KSI or something. I don't remember his name right now. He got major multi-million-dollar deals because he was popping on his own YouTube channel. The labels got so desperate, they started signing YouTubers and streamers to deals because they don't want to take the time to mold and shape artists no more. And guess what? A YouTuber, let's just be honest, how good can a YouTube rapper be? Not very good at all. Let's just be honest. They're mediocre. Let's just say that. And guess what happens when YouTubers say, I'm going to stop YouTube and I'm going strictly into rap? Ask Playboy Max, ask DDG. I'm going strictly into rap. Well, that only lasts so long, right? They like, I'm gonna stop streaming. I'm going, yeah, guess what? 2 weeks later, they back streaming like a motherfucker because they can't sustain it. They're not as good as rappers are supposed to be. Yeah, they got a huge following, but they're not that good. So what's going on is rap is being thrown wherever they can get a buck from it. They're not going to find the next Kendrick. They're not going to look for him because it's not going to behoove them to look for it and build it and mold it and shape it. Kendrick I don't know if you guys know, Kendrick was doing this for years, gang. He's doing this almost as long as Drake, right? They both been doing it long, but Drake got in the game before him. So the simple fact of the matter is these labels aren't building artists like they used to anymore. So when the label's looking for the quick fix, they're going to put garbage out. Because right now, they're looking for, I want to say, personalities, right? Tekashi 6ix9ine, you know how many Billboard hits he had in a row? He was a shocking public figure. And that became, that's like watching a train wreck. So everybody told, this millions of followers. This guy was he was an awful rapper that was making seriously viable rap music because at the end of the day, boardrooms want to see results. They want to see sales. So that's where we at with this music. That's why the sales are down, because when you flood a market of anything, it's supply and demand. If you flood a market with it, no matter what you're selling, if you flood it with too many cigarette brands, it's going to dilute the market. So they got to keep stuff at a certain level. They got to keep stuff at a certain quality. And when you stop doing that, you get this. Rap itself right now is no longer hip-hop. A lot of people are like, yo, you old heads just want to say it ain't hip-hop. No, you're not. You're not creative anymore. These guys literally tell you they're not even writing down the raps no more. They're just going in the booth, say some shit, cut it up, and put the record out. They're not even trying anymore. They brag about how fast they do the records. I did this song in 15 minutes. Yeah, it sound like it. So we're not getting the quality that we used to get. And we don't have the icons that we used to have. Right now, too many people got too many voices, and a lot of people are shooting down the icons before they start. Where's the level? Right now, every single rapper has a detractor, right? All of them, LV, all of them has a detractor that's saying that they're not great. Yeat, for all the fans he got, there's a lot more that thinks he's corny. So So right now, you really only got a few guys that are labeled as legendary at this point in time. I can name you 10 rappers, and everybody in the chat gonna be like, he's mid, he's trash. Da, da, da. So we have a thing right now where the consumer is being able to dictate what the labels used to dictate. They used to say DMX is awesome, and just the consumer just had to deal with it. Now they're chopping these guys down before they even get the record out, calling it mid. And then if the joint don't do first week sales, they're putting that right up the academics or whoever coming with the first week sales, right? And now, soon as them sales drop, the rapper album goes kick-clump, is down, because now they only judging you on the first week sales. It's a bad representation for hip hop all the way around. The labels are rushing to put out anything because they got quotas to meet. So they're not putting out really strong individuals with really good moral compasses. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's thousands of really good artists that I don't know that are out there thriving. Regrettably, I'm just hearing about this D4VD, this David kid. That's a whole nother issue, but it's artists like that. Guy got 1 million followers on Instagram, right? He did something really heinous that we're going to talk about in the future, but they're out there and they're thriving. But for the most part, we're looking at it like it's a ghost town out here. It's for someone who really wants to dig into hip hop music. The new music is guys that are really, they're not pulling in the numbers of the everyday person. These are niche markets, younger artists that have younger fan bases, but at the end of the day, they're not on a global level pulling in the numbers, not as a collective. So hip hop is down, and I want to talk about this now. Hip hop on Spotify is down, but sonically we're getting some good music. Let me have this conversation, because they keep saying what I'm telling you at the beginning. The Drake fans saying it's your fault we don't have Drake. Well, Drake released over 30 records, gang. Like, it's not that Drake can save this shit. He can't save anything. We're out here for different reasons than Drake, buddy. Drake ain't saving nothing. Drake jumped into this battle and got washed up. He got exposed, and now here we are. So he's not going to save anything. Artists, we need Drake back. They blaming us, and these tweets are crazy. If you see these people tweet, they're deranged, gang. They're coming up. They're finding new ways to call Kenny something every single day, gang. But let me just read this, because let's just be honest. It's not. This has been, hip hop has been it's not a free fall, but it's declining for years. It's not because of the battle. All the numbers have been down because it's a stagnant. I'm going to tell you what the reason. One of the reasons is the labels have made this thing stagnant. They're throwing anything out there, and people are tired of it. And it still has a big market share. So let's not go crazy. But let me read this article. Hip hop seeing its lowest number of entries on the daily Spotify global chart. Hip hop has seen its fair share of standout albums in 2025, but there has been a lack of steady commercial hits. That's the key word, commercial hits. Hip hop is not commercial. People tend to forget that. Hip hop does make commercial music. Hip hop does have its fair share of commercial hits, but people are starting to equate good with commercial. That doesn't translate to real hip hop, and that's where the disconnect begins. Let me continue. Joey Badass recently made the argument that 2025 has been one of the strongest years in hip-hop in recent memory. Moreover, he added that it's the best of the 2020s decade. He argued that the albums have gotten up until this point. He argues that the albums that we have gotten up until this point are why it deserves such praise. Now, let's just be honest. Joey Badass only did 9,000 copies, so that's an issue in and of itself. That's a whole different thing. But at the same time, some of us like the Joey Badass project. So it's like, what are we talking about? You can work these albums and get the units up and do a full-blown tour like they used to do. They used to work records. A lot of people don't remember Fuji's first album flopped. They ended up having a remix to Nappy Heads. The second album did absolute global Michael Jackson type numbers. The Scores is one of the highest selling hip hop albums of all time. Some of the biggest singles on that album. But if you threw them away from the first album, we would have none of that. You wouldn't have the Lauryn Hill that we know as the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. All that came after a flop album, right? The Fugees' first album flopped. And without the remix to Nappy Heads, you would have never heard of them. So it's not about sales. It's about how good is the group really. Let me continue. Joey Badass said, we got 2 West Side Gun joints. We got JID, which is Jid. We got the Clips, doing their reunion joint. Larry June and 2 Chainz, Chance the Rapper, Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist. We got a lot of good stuff this year, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. There's so many things that came out. I'm in a very good space, right? We got the Old Heads Only channel over there. Dale is reviewing a lot of this stuff. So if you don't know, head on over to our Old Heads Only channel. He's reviewing all these underground artists and this, that, and that. Shay Noir, all this stuff. Head on over to our other channel, right? Check it out. Let me continue. Per Hip Hop All Day, on the latest version of the daily Spotify global charts, only 4 of the 200 spots are occupied by rap songs. Now, if you care about that, then that matters. And people are getting really, really shook and wonky and this, that, and the third, right? But this is what it is. We're in an uphill battle in that front because Spotify is saying it ain't much going on in the rap genre. Let me continue. For those wondering, this list is based on daily streams. Compared to this exact day 5 years ago, the aggregator reports that 56 songs were on this Spotify chart. So 5 years ago, this time, we had 56 rap songs, quote unquote, on this chart. And now we only got 4, and 3 of them are Kendrick. But they blaming Kendrick, gang. I don't think it's Kendrick's fault. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of factors. A lot of people ain't putting out what people want to hear. And that means something, gang. Let me continue. What's more, though, is that this is the worst performance this genre has seen since this chart was introduced 9 years ago. So the chart only 9 years old, and 5 years ago we was on the top. We was on the top of the shit. We was popping, and now we only got 4. I'll also tell you that a lot of people are scared to drop because of this battle and Kendrick exposing Drake, and he changed the culture. The cultural shift that they don't want to believe is here. And a lot of these people are scared to drop because they're the consumer is not feeding into what the people were dropping a year ago. It's not the same. You see thugs struggling, a lot of people struggling. So your shit gonna have to say something or people not jacking it. It is what it is. And a lot of these guys that's put in positions don't know how to say something. They've been vibing and bobbing and talking about money and sex and this. They've been talking about nonsense for so long. They don't know how to really say something. Let's just be honest. And a lot of the people that were popping ain't popping no more. It is what it is. Let me continue. What's more, though, is that this is the worst performance the genre has seen since the chart was introduced 9 years ago. Lastly, making things a bit more concerning is that the 4 that are charting are from 2024 or earlier. That means nothing in 2025 is on this chart at all. And it's it's September. We almost ending the year, and ain't none of y'all shit's popping. Let's keep this pushing. The songs include The Weeknd and Playboi Carti's Timeless and Don Toliver's No Po. That was in 2023 and in 2024. Then it's Tyler, the Creator, and Kali Uchis. Salute to Kali Uchis. I like Kali Uchis. Flower Boy collab, See You Again, and All the Stars by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Timeless sits at 41. Then there's a steep drop off from there. All the Stars is at 63. See You Again is at 78. And No Po occupies the 121st spot. Overall, there's just been a lack of smash hits since 2025. There's been a few that have come and went, such as Drake's Nokia and Jello's Tweaker, but there are still 2.5 months left to go to turn things around. We have some major releases coming up, such as Cardi B's Am I the Drama, Young Thug, Scuddy, and A Scuddy, and Drake's Iceman, which we don't know if we get an Iceman, let's just be honest. Playboi Carti's Baby Boy is rumored to be coming by year's end. And there's also Roddy Ricch, Doja Cat, although she's leaning into pop, and Ty Dolla $ign, and more to look forward to. So what they're saying is you can still save it, but it's nothing to save. At this point, even that stuff is just going to be hit or miss. Most of that stuff sound like it's going to be either mostly pop driven, right? Most of the Cardi B, Drake Iceman, and Ty Dolla $ign, Doja Cat, Roddy Ricch. That's going to be a lot of pop-driven stuff. That's going to have hip-hop tap slapped on it. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be hip-hop-driven music we're going to get. Just going to be honest. But so I did a little search. I was like, yo, let's talk about hip-hop. This is just Spotify. Let's talk about hip-hop as a whole. And are those sales down? Now, when I Googled that, it said that hip-hop's total music consumption has decreased from a peak of 28% to 26%, but it's still the most consumed genre by a significant margin. So hip hop is still the most consumed. So they're throwing like their hat in the ring and they're going crazy over Spotify numbers. But as a whole, Spotify is just one component of this thing. As a whole, hip hop still has 26% of the market share. So hip hop is still doing this thing at a very big high level. So we're not going anywhere. And they think the factors of the sales going down are, one, streaming. Streaming has declined because they used to go to the record store and get these CDs at full price, and those CDs were counting as one wholesale. Now streaming, they're like, you got to stream thousands to get 1 cent. Like, so it's like a whole different thing. And streaming dilutes how fast these people can get it and get over it, because you're streaming it really quickly. You're streaming it for free. That changes the dynamic of what they're counting these numbers as, and what they pay you as. So streaming has changed a lot of the ways that music was tallied up. So that hurts how it's looked at in the market share. Also, it's increased competition and fragmentation. So they put a lot more music out. There's a lot more rappers. There's a lot more indie rappers competing. So like, it's like if you're voting for a particular office and you have 2 parties, okay, that's fine. If you got a whole bunch of parties and a whole bunch of people running, it's diluting it. And now, therefore, the votes are split all over the place, right? That's why the Green Party can hurt or help another party, because they're going to pull votes from somebody. Let me continue. Market adaptation. That means they're not adapting to the changes of the musical listeners' taste. They're not adapting. They're still doing the same thing, although the market is changing, right? When these young kids and these different artists start doing something different and sounding different and way left, and the kids start gravitating that way, hip hop doesn't have they don't have the proper artists that can change with it, because you're getting artists who really aren't artists. Let's just start there. You're getting some dude off the block that's doing drill music, and you're propping him up to be a star. He's not prepared for that, because he's not going to change and adapt. His genre of music doesn't allow him to. Drill rappers got to be drill rappers. They can't change. They can't be different. They have to do that. So they're not adapting to the market, and that's hurting the overall scene. So as they start to flop, which they get a year, 2 years top, only a few of these guys make it past a year. If they're not dead or in jail, they only make it past a year. They start flopping and the music starts to fail, because they're not adapting they're not real artists, so they don't change. And another thing they said is clinical downturns. So that means cycling of downturns. That means that it goes in cycles, and the cycles start to change. And as things change, things are going to go up, they're going to go down. So as things go up, you got a high. Rappers is on top. Then you got a low. So rappers start to go down, It's going to always change and shift and deliver new results. So you just got to expect it. Doesn't matter who's in power, It's going to up and down. It doesn't matter. So with all that being said, when these people start saying we need Drake, this, that, and the third, Drake is not the answer, because Drake is still making music that he doesn't even know what he wants to make. He's still trying to test and do these different episodes, and it's not trying to figure out. He's been doing group tests since the battle started, since he dropped push-ups, this, and the third. He's been trying to see what works, so he doesn't know what works. Now they want all the collabs he used to do, and they want all of the big records, the anthems that he used to do, because everybody wanted to work with him. They wanted this so quote unquote stimulus package, where the stimulus is gone. That's what they don't understand. It's never coming back, because most of them people that he had to collabs with, not rocking with him no more. There's not going to be no Rick Ross record, no Future record. A lot of these rappers from Atlanta are not going to do records with him. Metro not going to do the beats. It was a whole collective that he was rocking with. So that era is never coming back. Drake is overseas now trying to rap with Canadian rappers. So and he's entangled with, even Playboy Cardi is like, he's not clearing records, this, that, and the third. So he got a whole lot of different things contending with his success. So you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that level of success ever again. It's never coming back. And this Iceman thing is in trouble. It's in real trouble. And academics is hypothesizing that Drake is trying to do a Frank Ocean. He's going to give the label all of his trash records, because this is his last album that he's going to do for them. And so he's going to give them all his trash. He's going to do a Blonde. He's going to give them all his trash records, and then drop the real record like 2 days later on some bullshit, right? That's not what's happening here. I don't think that he has that in him to pull out. Right now, his career is so wonky, he can't do a fake record. He can't do, let me throw out the trash and then put out some, it ain't going to work, because people are not going to give him that kind of grace. But where we are with this music, man, I don't think Spotify shows you everything, but it does have a pulse of what's going on as far as what people want to hear now. A lot of those records, hip-hop is splintered, so a lot of people don't want to hear the clips. They trying to hear the clips fail, but the clips still did numbers, but it's not enough people doing commercial rap. That's the problem. We're not doing commercial rap. Real hip hop is we're doing our thing at a high level. The real hip hop that's meant to be done a certain kind of way, we eating real good right now. We're the hip hop that don't care what it does on the charts. We're eating real good. So hip hop is fine. Hip hop is in a better state than it's been in a long time. Now, as far as you want those deli, you want those you want those big records that's going to move the needle and sit on the charts for 20 weeks. God bless you. We're not getting that. But God bless you. If that's what you want, you're not getting that either, because a lot of people don't know how to do that right now. They don't know what to make. They're either scared to make it or can't make it. Hip hop is divided in a way where we're getting real rap, but we're not getting that commercial sound that you're looking for that's going to push the needle with this little mix of artistic realism mixed with just straight up, this is the formula. We're not getting those things right now, and I don't know when you're going to get them again. So it's still going to sell, and people are going to start to gravitate to better things like what's really popping right now. They're starting to get force fed. Okay, this is what real rap is supposed to sound like, as opposed to what you've been listening to for the last 5-6 years, 10 years. So that's it, man. That's my diatribe, man. I feel like we're seeing a resurgence of real rap, and they're starting to understand what that is. They're starting to tap in and start. Oh, the clips. They're starting to learn. They just saw the clips. We just saw the clips at the Vatican, right? So now it's starting to be like, yo. Oh, that's what rap really supposed to be. Not the stuff I've been listening to. This is what it really, so it's taking us elder statesmen to give it back to them, right? All these people that I'm naming having these good records. These are people in their late 30s, early 40s, and some of them in their 50s. These are older people. These are not 20-year-olds. So they're starting to get a taste of, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. A lot of the youth are gravitating to that, and they're filling up these people's pages and starting to follow them. It's going to be a slow process, but it's a process nonetheless. I'm not worried about hip hop. Hip hop is doing fine. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Listen, CLBMG, head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. They ship all over the continental U.S. Also, on Wednesday nights, we go live on the What Show. We talk about hip hop. We just talked about this last night on the What Show. So tap in and see what we thought about that. And let me know what you think in the comments, man. I'm out of here. CLBMG. I'm gonna catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6-man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within. With the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end, and then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking. And all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like Pats fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe, then put some food in his face and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share, tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location, tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.